Third down and 20.
What is going on? Welcome back, episode 27 of the 3rd and 20 podcast. My name is Frank Entwistle. I got the main man here, my co-host Ryan Steed. How's it going, Ryan?
Pretty good, man. Ready to get this thing on the road.
Yeah, first week of the NFL season that both our teams lost. Tough feels out here.
Funny to say that on week 13.
Yeah, I mean,
we've lost a couple more times than y'all. We've had a handful of losses, and we've just been waiting, you know.
You guys have been embracing the suck for the past 2 seasons now.
Past 3.
This will be the
past
three.
Third season in a row without a winning record, you know. But you know, we're changing the culture. You know, we don't want to be a winning franchise. We want to be a mediocre franchise that gives the fans, including myself, a panic attack, a heart attack every given Sunday, maybe Monday if we get a primetime game.
Yeah, I guess we can touch on my Steelers, man. Losing to the Washington football team. You talk about a rough football game to watch, going up 14-0 and ending up losing the game. I think the first thing, honestly, is we have to give credit to the Redskins' defensive line, mainly Montez Sweat, for knocking down a ton of passes and just being an overall nuisance for the Steelers' short passing attack. And Chase Young did Chase Young things. You know, is anyone surprised that Chase Young is an absolute stud and making a year one impact? I don't think so. The guy was a certified beast in the draft, and he showed why on Sunday. He was worth the number 2 overall pick. He completely that one goal line stand that the football team had just really knocked the wind out of the Steelers' sails. I feel like after that goal line stand, they just really gave up on any semblance of a run game, just realizing, okay, these guys up front are a little bit too good. We don't have Pouncey. Right tackle's been kind of a question mark spot for us the past pretty much the entire season. We had Zach Banner go down, who earned the spot in camp. But it was just a really rough game, man, and especially when the defense plays well, even though they were banged up. But I'm curious as to hear what your thoughts were as a non-Steelers homer on the game.
I mean, dude, I agree with you. You have to give credit to this football team, the Washington football team, for coming back. Ever since Alex Smith has been put back in the starting role, this team has been night and day what it was before with Dwayne Haskins and Kyle Allen's basically nobodies, just trash quarterbacks. You put in a veteran quarterback who's capable of winning games, you're going to win some games because he's not going to do anything stupid. And if you have a top 10 defense, which they do, that defense is legit, like we saw on that Monday 3 o'clock game, which it's still taking me a little bit to get used to that we have football, but I'm not hating on it. I love it. But I really do like where this football team is headed. Of course, they're fighting for the division. Honestly, they're fighting for a playoff spot too. They're only one game back out of the playoff in the NFC because the NFC has just been a crapshoot this whole year. But like you said with the Steelers, it's just one loss, and everybody's going to dissect it and say like, "Oh, this team was the worst undefeated team of all time. They're frauds and all that." Was this an upset? Yes. Are you going to run into bad games here and there where you don't look like your true self? Yeah, you're going to have bad games. If we remember the Patriots from 2 years ago, they lost to Matt Patricia, RIP.
Pencils out, man. Pencils out.
Pencils out. But they lost to Matt Patricia's Lions. I'm pretty sure they got blown out in 2018, and that team won the Super Bowl. So in any given week in this league, it's going to be crazy. You're going to see upsets. You're going to see teams that should not win. And to say that this Washington football team is a huge upset, I don't think so, because this is I guess they're a playoff caliber team at 5-7. So I just wouldn't look too much into this loss for the Steelers. You can bounce back again, like you played on Wednesday, and then you have to turn around and play again on Monday. Your schedule's all weird. You didn't really execute the game plan like you all have in the past. But, you know, one loss is not going to hurt you. And just take it what it is and then move on from it.
Yeah, I think you're right for mostly everything you said. Just the big things that I want to touch on the drops from the Steelers receivers, mainly Deontay Johnson and Ebron, you just can't have that. Way too many drops the past 2 weeks. And you just have to give credit to Alex Smith. Just hanging in there. It was a terrible start to that football game, but I mean the football team hung around. They
They
hung
lost to
around.
Antonio
They
Gibson
made some
early.
really they made some really key plays on offense and just found a way to get ahead in the ball game and then come up with a big turnover to win it for him. So, I mean, if the Steelers were to lose to any team this season, I think I would be the most happy with them losing to Ron Rivera and the Washington football team.
Yeah, I mean, not a bad loss. That what that franchise has endured from the offseason to Ron Rivera's cancer to Alex Smith almost dying and coming back and beating an undefeated team is truly like kind of a Cinderella story. If they make the playoffs, that's even like more of a bow on the present, I guess you could say. But yeah, you got to give them hats off to them.
I mean, at least that if I can take any positive, it's one more towards that over. That Washington football team over.
It's
They
looking
they got to be
nice
like
now.
one game off now.
Yeah, I think it started the season off at 6, so doing pretty well there. And like, I mean, dude, the NFC East, don't look now, but the Giants and the football team the past month or so really turned it on and kind of looking like legit teams winning these games and games they're not favored in. Like you just saw the G-Man beat the Seahawks, and take it what you will.
Yeah, I mean, you're completely. These are two teams that their defenses have been keeping them in ball games. They've made some crucial plays, especially both through the pass. I know the Redskin football team, excuse me, are one of the top ranked passing defenses right now. But the New York Giants, man, with Joe Judge and all them, their pass defense shut down one of the best with Russell Wilson and that crew. They have been struggling, but regardless, usually the Seahawks are a team that just find ways to win football games. And that's without Daniel Jones, their starting quarterback. Love to see Colt McCoy get a dub, though. Colt McCoy, I'm not sure you can hate on Colt McCoy. The guy is an absolute college
So,
football legend.
yeah, he's a UT legend. Got snubbed from a Heisman in 2009, I believe. Didn't get to win didn't get to play in the national championship against Bama. And it's nice to see him still bulling in the league somehow and just beating a Seahawks team that everybody still thinks that can make the Super Bowl.
Yeah, man, it's going to be curious to see not only for the playoff race who's going to be in the NFC East spot for that home playoff game, but can this team pull off an upset? I can only imagine they're going to be an underdog going into that playoff game, but got some teams getting hot here. This is the time to get hot towards the
I
end of the
mean, they're
season. It doesn't matter what you did the first half of the season. It's really all about right now. So good on these two squads for getting some momentum going, and it's going to be fun to watch.
I mean, like last little point here, but there's a shot we see two teams from the NFC East make the playoffs. I mean, the Giants have the 4 seed right now, but the football team's only one game back, as the Vikings are 6-6 and they're 5-7. So if you would have told me like a month ago that there was a possibility that not one but two teams make it out of the NFC East, I would have called you crazy. And that's been this year in the NFC, where usually the NFC is pretty top heavy. It's like if this back then the 6 seed would have like 10 wins and barely get in. Now we're looking at like where the 7 seed might be an 8-8 team and could possibly be a 7-9 team.
Yeah, and the NFC West, the Cardinals really haven't been able to figure things out recently. The 49ers are just one week they look good, the next week they look
They just
pretty dog
yeah,
crap.
it's weird what's going on in San Francisco, but I feel like they
I
get
mean, you
us.
can't blame the injuries have really
Yeah,
screwed
I
them
I would
so bad again this
I
year.
give San Francisco an excuse this year because they're just not at full strength and they haven't really been at this whole year. And we knew the talent of this ball club coming in. And Shanahan's still such a great coach with like a depleted roster and what they've been getting. Still be in the hunt, you know. Take it what
In
you
the
will.
hunt. We're in the hunt.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah,
and
that's
don't
what
count out the Lions. Don't count out the
that,
Lions. They're going for that wild card spot.
we said it last week. Their new interim coach,
Daryl
forgot his
Bevel.
name, dude with the glass. Yeah, he said let's make a run for these playoffs. You're off to a good start when you go 1-0, and that means head coaches that have gotten fired and replaced by interim are now 3-0 in their first game.
Yeah, you want to
Found
win
a
a football
recipe for
game,
success.
fire your coach.
Yeah,
Interim
recipe
is
for
going to win.
success. You could go 16-0 this season if you fired your head coach for 16 straight games. Just keep on getting a random new head coach.
All right. But with that being said, let's move on into the film analysis portion. This is one I have been waiting to do for the basically since he became the starter. This is Taysom Hill film analysis. I just wanted to have him get 3 games under his belt, which according to random people on the internet usually, you need 3 games of film before you can legitimately make an assumption on someone, an analysis, whatever you want to call it. I usually like to do a little bit more, but I couldn't hold on to this one any longer. I was too excited to do it. And the question that me and Steed are going to be answering by the end of this segment is Taysom Hill the future quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, or could he be the future quarterback for the New Orleans Saints? Steve, I'm going to start off with you. What do you think, as a Falcons fan? You see him beat
Seen him
your Falcons
twice.
the past 2 games. What did you think of Taysom Hill's performances? The past 2 games. Well, 3 weeks, but almost back-to-back games.
I would say the second time we face him now, I can see a huge improvement in this game. Just him more confident throwing the ball, and he made some really huge plays. And we're probably gonna talk later about his third down success. So I won't dive into that too much, but we always knew he'd be a threat running the ball. Wasn't too sure about his passing game. As you saw, he got his first passing TD against us, so we're just breaking records again. Got 2,
Mm-hmm.
and I I'm not sold on him completely on being a full on like guy to have out there. Now you gotta realize this Saints team is built for success. You got a top 5 head coach in the game. You got a defense that is just since like week 3 has turned on a different page. Is easily a top 5 defense in the league in my eyes. But he does what he needs to do. He goes out there, he executes the job well, doesn't turn over the ball too much, even though his fumbling, I have seen has become a problem. Like, not a problem, but it's just,
It's an
it
issue.
is
It's
iffy.
not a problem. It's more of like a minor issue.
Yeah, because like there was where he did fumble on their last drive, and if we were able to pick it up, you know, we're at the
Mm-hmm.
30 and we're threatening there, and I don't know, but I really do like what Taysom Hill's doing this team, and I think they can be competitive moving forward in the playoffs with him. If Drew Brees, I don't know exactly the timeline of Drew Brees. I know he can come off IR this week or whatever, but I'm sure they're not trying to rush him back, especially when Taysom Hill's 3-0 and beating your division rival twice in 1 year.
Yeah, that's all really good stuff. But I'm going to try and speed run this a little bit because I have a ton to show. But the first thing that I want to do is kind of clear some common misconceptions that I think have been developed around Taysom Hill. The first is going to be his arm strength. A lot of people think that Taysom Hill just can't throw the ball far enough. And I think that that isn't necessarily true. Um, yes, his arm strength probably falls on the lower end of the bell curve, but I have his accurate range at about 55, 56 yards. Accurate range, for those who don't know, I first heard it by Matt Waldman. Check him out on YouTube. He's great for scouting. And basically, it's how far you can throw the ball accurately. And the best way I can describe it is Baker Mayfield can throw the ball like 70 something yards. but he cannot throw the ball accurately 70-something yards. So Baker Mayfield's accurate range is like 60 yards. Taysom Hill is only a handful of yards behind that. Now, granted, I've only seen him really throw the ball 55 yards. I'm not sure how much farther than that he can throw it. I'd have to work him out or just see it on tape at some point. But I think that he has enough of an arm to play in the NFL. I don't think that that's something that's going to hold him back necessarily from being a starter. Yes, it might hinder him in terms of, is he the best quarterback in the NFL or a top 5 guy? But in terms of a guy that can play, I don't think so. And, you know, a play that a lot of people look at was this play against the Falcons that we saw that first matchup 3 weeks ago, where he goes and throws a duck to Emmanuel Sanders. But the thing that I want to point out just really quickly is that, he kind of got screwed up by this guy right here. I'm pretty sure it's Grady Jarrett, just coming in at his legs. No, it's 55 right here. He's crow hopping into this is his first start, and he's not able to get a clean platform here on this throw, which I think one of the reasons why it only goes like 50, 51 yards, because you saw on that BYU throw, he threw that ball 4 yards farther and he had a clean pocket. So that's just what I quickly want to dispel there. And the other common misconception I have is that Taysom Hill is not a quarterback that wants to be not necessarily be mobile, but he wants to be in the pocket when he throws, which I feel like if you listen to talk shows and don't necessarily watch the Saints with Taysom Hill, you would think, oh, well, he's a quarterback, one read, maybe gets the check down, then run. That's not really who Taysom Hill is. He, as a quarterback, running is one of his last options. Unless he sees a huge amount of space and is able to cleanly get out of the pocket, mainly due to there being an actual pass rush, then he'll run. But he's not a quarterback that instantly looks to run. When you think of a mobile quarterback, you think of someone like Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is someone that he will look at one read, and if he sees a glimpse of space, he's running. He doesn't care about the play, which is fine. You're Lamar Jackson. But I think the common misconception is that Taysom Hill would be in that similar vein of, oh, I'm just going to run whenever I see any open grass. And that's just not true. And not only that, Taysom Hill is much more comfortable throwing in the pocket. This is from last week. This is a really nice throw. Some decent anticipation on this curl route to Jared Cook. And this is exactly what Taysom Hill wants. He wants a clean throwing lane, space to step up. He can escape if he needs to buy some time. This is exactly what Taysom Hill wants. He's not a guy that's panicking in the pocket and then rolling out and throwing on the run. He really doesn't like throwing off platform a whole lot. And I think that that's just kind of the two common misconceptions around Taysom Hill right now. So let's get into his strengths. What is Taysom Hill good at? Well, we just saw it on that play. This kid's got a really good fastball throw. Taysom Hill is the quarterback. He wants to have some space in front of him in the pocket, a couple of yards, and a nice little throwing lane for him to step up and really drive in a fastball. And these types of throws are what Sean Payton has been trying to implement in the game plan. Here's a 3rd and 17. You're going to see the Falcons are doing this sticks coverage, and they do a pretty bad job of it, unsurprisingly. You're going to see there's just way too much space for Michael Thomas here at the bottom of the screen. But look at Taysom Hill here. This is exactly what he wants. Space to step up and just throw a fastball right to the sideline. Just beat AJ Terrell with his arm, hit Michael Thomas on the sideline, 3rd and 17 conversion. Like, to be completely honest, if you didn't know this was Taysom Hill starting, this looks like Drew Brees a little bit. And This is the whole thing. A quarterback with a bad arm, AJ Terrell can probably get there and make that play. Taysom Hill's arm strength is not the problem with him as a quarterback. And when I had heard people initially seeing that Taysom Hill was starting for this team, everyone's like, oh, well, he doesn't have NFL arm talent. Okay, yeah, he's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not bombing the ball 70 yards and doing crazy stuff off platform. But he hasn't, that's 30 yards on an out route, probably 25 yards, and he beats a corner that had 7 yards to go. Like, yeah, it's open for NFL standards, but that's a good throw. That's a really good throw. And I just really want to hone in on how Sean Payton is calling these games for Taysom Hill, because this is really important for if he can be a quarterback in the NFL. So what they're going to do is they're going to have double ins called. They're going to have here, this in, and then out here, they're going to have another in right behind it. Double posts, double digs with this guy running a flat. And this is just like the perfect concept for Taysom Hill. Just have this first dig, soak up this safety here, and then give him a little bit of space to fire in a ball in between the corner and the safety for a touchdown. And it's just so crazy how this is such a simple concept, but it works perfectly for this team. You see this little bit of space, and this is exactly the kind of throw that Taysom Hill is really good at. And Sean Payton knows this, and he's calling all these concepts the entire game. He's calling concepts for Taysom Hill to just drive fastballs into his receivers, whether it's on the outside towards the sideline or whether it's towards a dig on the inside trying to beat a safety. They were calling these up, dialing these up all game, and it was working to perfection. So some other quick strengths of Taysom Hill, obviously he has legs. He's a very good running quarterback. He's tough to bring down. For a guy in his third start, he has pretty damn good decision making. He didn't make a ton of wacky. Yes, he makes young player mistakes. We'll get into that a little bit more towards the end part of the analysis. But the biggest strength I saw out of Taysom Hill is just the dramatic improvement from games 1 and 2 to game 3. It was just really awesome to see how much he has improved as a quarterback. So you just saw this double ins concept right here, right? This double post, double digs. Here's the same concept last week against the Broncos. You're going to have 2 digs, one here, flat. And this is 3rd and 12, and you can see he's got this first one wide open, and he doesn't see it. Maybe he doesn't want to pull the trigger. Maybe he's not reading the leverage of this linebacker, or he's reading this guy down here. Regardless, he doesn't throw it, and he takes a sack. Literally, the very next week, he goes out, he runs the same concept in the red zone with less space, and throws a great tight window throw here. Is that not the development that you want to see out of your young quarterback? That is perfect. As a Saints fan, I would be ecstatic with that.
Yeah, it's very.
What were you going to say, Steed?
It's very quick development. I mean, that's from a week apart from each other. So tells me that he's a fast learner and probably looks at a good amount of film. And, his third week being truly implemented as a starting quarterback, you could kind of see him, especially in this Falcons game, that he's truly understanding the system now. And it's a good sign for the Saints.
Yeah, here's another one. You're going to get a dagger concept. You're going to have this guy clearing out the dig right off the back. Look how well timed this is. Bang, right before the safety gets there. And this is exactly, Sean Payton is doing such a good job of just playing to his strength. Let's block all these guys. Look at all this time and space that Taysom Hill has to step into this throw. This is why people call Sean Payton one of the best offensive coaches, is because he doesn't take players to work around his system. He works his system around the players. And this is absolutely massive because this is an organization and a team that legitimately believes in developing players. It's shown time and time again that they have the ability to develop guys and that they're willing to work around guys, which is huge for Taysom Hill because not only can you see it happening live, you can easily transition a lot of this stuff into next season. And it's just really big for his overall development. Some of the other things I saw that he improved on that I just don't really have the time to show. He was hitting his check down this game a whole lot more and just getting rid of the ball. He showed way better anticipation, which, like you said, I think is just a result of him studying more film, understanding the system. And even from day one, when he wasn't playing terribly well, He just has a really good understanding of the matchup that he wants to go to. If he sees Michael Thomas in one-on-one coverage, he's hitting Michael Thomas in one-on-one coverage. And you should. The guy got paid like $20 million a year to beat coverage one-on-one. And he's not forcing the ball to him in double coverage. It's just, I see Michael Thomas one-on-one, I throw slant to slant boy. But
slant boy.
Yeah, slant boy. I mean, they're lucky. The slant boy is so good. I'll give him credit. But where is the bad? Because Taysom Hill is obviously not a perfect quarterback. And I think one of the major problems with Taysom Hill is that he still has a long way to go in terms of development as a pure passer of the football. He has that fastball, and he's really good when he has some space to step up. He has a throwing lane. But everyone's good with that, right? Everyone's good when everything's working. You know, when he even has like the slightest bit of pressure, especially from the front, not necessarily from the sides, when he has pressure in his face, it's tough for him to make throws. He really does struggle a little bit. Okay, this is the wrong example here. But the other problem I have, we'll get into the second one first, is that that fastball is all he's really got. He doesn't have a ton of touch on his throws, which when you take the two of them and combine those issues where he struggles against pressure from the front and he has poor touch on a lot of his throws, you kind of get a one-dimensional quarterback, which Sean Payton can work with because he's one of the best offensive coaches in the NFL. But when you're not playing the Falcons every week that give you first downs half the plays, and side note, I have never done a film analysis involving the Falcons where I have not seen them just give teams a touchdown. They happened in the first matchup between the two. I think it was his first touchdown pass this game. They literally just didn't cover the guy he threw a touchdown to.
Yeah, he's wide open.
But you can see here, he has room to put this over the shoulder. He has a ton of space, and he wants to go for this fastball again, this same throw. Look at all the space he has over here to drop it in. You need to drop this throw in. You don't want to throw a fastball where you can have this defender, A.J. Terrell, undercut it. And that's exactly what happens. That could easily be going the other way, that throw. And he has multiple throws on that same over concept that he wants to throw a fastball instead of dropping the ball into space. Here we're going to see another, this is just everything starting to come together. We can kind of get a better example here. You have the slightest amount of pressure in his face where he can't fully step into a throw and get a really clean throwing lane, and you'll see that he just can miss. And this is where he just needs to develop as a passer. He's not where he needs to be. He's nowhere near where he needs to be. But you see how much he's improved. And that's what gives you hope as a Taysom Hill believer is that, yeah, you'll have plays like this where, he's trying to fit into a window. He's trying not to throw a pick and he throws it behind. It's a bad throw. It's an ugly one. But you've seen the progression and you know that he can continue to improve. Here's where it kind of all comes together, these issues. You're going to see there's pressure in his face and an open guy. He's just not able to throw it over this defender in his face to a wide open Emmanuel Sanders. And this goes on to the third issue that I saw. Not only is he not developed as a passer in terms of those touch throws, throwing into space, he's not really good off platform, which is kind of ties back to that common misconception about Taysom Hill. You think of a mobile quarterback, you think of a guy just throwing on the run as he's going out of bounds, escaping the pocket and throwing across his body. That's not what Taysom Hill is. That's not who he wants to be as a quarterback. He struggles throwing off platform. And not only does he struggle throwing off platform, you can tell he's not very confident throwing off platform. Just these throws where he has to move a little bit and then make a touch pass. This isn't what he's good at. He wants just a nice place to step up and throw the football on a line. When you start making him sidestep and do all this footwork, he's just not developed yet. This is not a bad throw. And the thing that you love is that this is the right read here. He has the right idea. He gets the ball out on time. He just needs to be developed more as a passer to start completing this stuff. And you heard Sean Payton compare him to Steve Young. I've heard a whole lot of analysts compare him to Steve Young. Well, I went back and I looked at Steve Young. Here's Steve Young's first season in the NFL, 1985, against I believe they're the Los Angeles Rams at this point. I'm not 100% sure, though. It's the Rams, though. And side note, Eric Dickerson destroyed the Buccaneers. This is a bad Buccaneers football team. I'm not very well versed in how the NFL landscape was in 1985, but I can assure you that this Buccaneers team was definitely not near the top of the power rankings. I can guarantee you that. Yeah, you can see here, Eric Dickerson running wild is the description. But this is where, even in Steve Young's first year, he is better than Taysom Hill at Taysom Hill's weak spots. Throwing under pressure, touch on the passes. This is what I want to see out of Taysom Hill. You're going to see there is pressure. Look at this block. Oh, hold on. Look at this block here by this tackle. This is atrocious. Oh, no, I messed up. Oh, geez. Here we go. Back on track. Look at this block right here. But this is what Steve Young was way better than Taysom Hill at. This throw over linebackers under a corner of safety, under pressure.
That's pretty nasty.
He's not able to step up into that throw with a nice throwing window. This is an unbelievable throw, and you can see why Steve Young is a Hall of Famer. Even in his first year with this dog crap team, this is a really, really tough throw. And this is why when I hear that comparison with Taysom Hill and Steve Young, I'm like, okay, kind of. But Steve Young is just a way better pure passer of the football. Now we're going to get into some more of his issues throwing off platform. You're going to see here, I noticed this trend that he has when rolling out and throwing off platform, not in the pocket moving around, but when he's just straight off throwing on the run. You'll have a guy open on the sideline right here. Just throw the ball. But he gets greedy a lot. He gets greedy, and he'll see someone open on the sideline, but then he'll look back across the field for a half a second. And this works in college because he's trying to see, oh, look at this space. Maybe I can fit a ball in here. Just take the yards, man. Just take the yards, because by the time he wants to throw this football, just too late. He's getting nailed. Incompletion, not able to be accurate. And this is one of the issues that you have with Taysom Hill throwing off platform. He's not that NFL ready yet. He just doesn't have that experience under his belt. Because in the college game, you can get away with peeking here, initially looking here, then peeking here, staring it down a little bit, then I can go back over here. Game's not that fast. And the NFL, the game is a whole lot faster. And here's a great example of it. He's not able to gauge how much time he's really got. He gets destroyed. And it's an incompletion. And these are the little things, because I'm looking back at this Falcons game, and the Saints could have easily blown them the crap out. They could have blown them out, and they had plenty of opportunities to end the football game. And one of these issues is just that this is third quarter. This is 6 minutes and 5 seconds left in the third quarter. And here it is again. He's rolling out, and he just decides not to let it loose. That's open. That's not open. In NFL standards, that's wide open. Got to make this throw. And I think part of the issue is, I think Tony Romo said it best. I was watching one of his broadcasts. I don't remember which one. Tony Romo, it took him a couple seasons in the NFL to really trust his arm. And what he meant by that is, going through the reps, knowing the playbook. But not only that, not taking that quarter of a second, that third of a second to think, can I make that throw? Because this is what you can clearly see. I really think this is what Taysom Hill's doing. Is that he's thinking here, oh, can I fit that ball there? Do I make that throw? He needs to get his mechanics, his confidence, his gameplay down to not taking that third or quarter of a second to think, can I make that? He needs to just let it loose. Trust your arm. Know that you can make the throw. And this is the area I think that Taysom Hill needs to improve the most. And we've seen it a little bit. We've seen it. That Denver game, he just wasn't getting the ball out. You could tell he wasn't confident. He got his confidence up a little bit this game. But it still needs to improve if he wants to be a full-time starting quarterback for this organization. And then you just kind of get the general rookie mistakes. He's going to roll out here and miss a wide open touchdown here. I believe this is the beginning of the fourth quarter. Ends the ball game.
Jesus. Yep.
And I don't want to show this to say, oh, Taysom Hill, he can't see the field. Every quarterback misses guys open like this. It's hard. There's a whole lot going on over here.
Mm-hmm.
But this is just, you have to show it. There's a chance to take this team out of the football game. And you're right. That fumble at the end of the game could have cost them the football game. Could have really cost them the football game.
They're lucky it bounced the right way for them.
And the last thing I want to say before I kind of give the final verdict is what I want to see out of Taysom Hill going forward, if he's still playing as the quarterback for the Saints, is how he deals. Well, this is just the wrong play. But basically, I want to see what happens when teams try to take away these intermediate level throws and force him to throw the ball over the top. If they're giving guys like Emmanuel Sanders one-on-one coverage on a post route, is he going to be able to hit it this time around? Because you saw he did hit it against the Falcons week 1. It wasn't pretty, and it was drastically underthrown, but it worked. I want to see, can that improve? Can that continue? Or is he just not developed enough as a passer to do that? And at the end of the day, my final verdict is a little bit ambiguous. I think he can easily be the starting quarterback for the Saints next year. 100%. I think right now he's probably the leading candidate to be the starting quarterback of the Saints right now. In terms of, are they drafting a guy? And if they draft a guy, is that drafted player going to start over him? I think right now Taysom Hill starts next year for the Saints. But is he the long-term answer? That's tough to tell. Because off the film, if you just thought based off of the past 3 games, you're leaning no. But I know this Saints team. I know Sean Payton. I've watched him too many times, too long now. He can develop this guy. This guy's got the talent. Yes, he's not the Patrick Mahomes. He's never going to be. But Sean Payton doesn't need a Patrick Mahomes. He just needs a guy that is accurate with the ball, that makes the right decisions, and is still a threat with his legs in the red zone. That's all he needs, and he's shown it this past couple weeks by going 3-0. So I do think that Taysom Hill is the starting quarterback for the Saints next year, and I think people need to really start putting into their mind that this guy could be the future quarterback for this football team. Granted, he's not going to be the most talented, and I would not be surprised if they try to draft a guy to develop under Taysom Hill. But people need to start acting like this kid is more legit. I don't understand what the hate is on him. Maybe people didn't like him coming out of the draft, so they don't want to be wrong. Maybe they just think that gadget players like a Taysom Hill will never be able to become a starting quarterback. You need a top pick, a top first rounder to be a starting quarterback. I think this guy's got the talent and the work ethic, though. And you've seen the improvement. He continues to improve like this. He's the starting quarterback.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he's definitely his job to lose next year. 3 games in, especially this past game, he looks like he's getting it together. There's still a lot of the season left for him to develop and become that starter mold. But one thing that was huge, especially this past week, was his his third down delight. And he was just
third down, he was unreal. Do you have the stats?
Yeah, money on third down. He went 11 for 13 for 106 yards, one TD, and had a passer rating of 126.3. So unreal numbers there. I mean, that's like the bulk of his passing yards from last week. Honestly, it was on big third down conversions, like you saw in that one video where it was like a 3rd and 17. I remember the play. That's a huge conversion. That I'm pretty sure
These were not easy third downs, dude.
no, they
These were a
weren't.
lot of third and longs. Like, for a guy that when you saw him week 12 against Denver, he was bad. He was straight up bad against Denver. And he comes out the next week. Now, Drew Brees was on the sideline against the Falcons, not against Denver. Maybe that made an impact. I don't know. We're not there. But just in general, the improvement. Now, this guy's not going to go out there and play as well as he did against the Falcons every week. 100%. It's not going to happen. And I think that he does have some weaknesses that the Falcons weren't able to take advantage of. I want to see how he deals against a team like the football team, the Washington football team, of course, or the Pittsburgh Steelers, where they're able to create that interior pressure to where he has to make throws on those weird angles all game. He can't step into every throw. It's not clean and nice every throw.
Yeah, that's a good point. Also, you got to remember 2 of his 3 games have been against the secondary that's next to last to the Seahawks, who are historically bad in the passing game. So
yeah.
if he, I have faith in him, and I totally believe just based off the tape because it's still an NFL defense, and the Falcons defense wasn't what it was in week 3, and if he go, I want to see him go up against one of these elite defenses, a top 10 defense, where he's going to be faced with a whole different mold. Because now you get kind of like a book out on him, especially with 3 games in, like what he's good at and what he's not good at, and like all these good defenses with these good defensive schemes, good DCs, will be able to manipulate that and try to take away his bread and butter and see if he can make something uncomfortable. So for the weeks coming in, he's got to understand, yes, I had my best game and we're 3-0 versus seeding, but a lot worse could come if I don't continue on my uptrend because it's weird. I understand the hate on him because I think it is like that gadget kind of player, and maybe it's because people don't like kids from BYU or something. But when you just turn on the TV and watch Taysom Hill, it's not like you're watching like a true a definition of a quarterback. It's a little different mold, and I think that's why people are just rubbed the wrong way about him. Maybe it's the way he looks too. Like he kind of looks like a little bit of a douche. But I mean, I'm just saying that, dude. As a Falcons fan, I'm just saying he kind of looks a little bit like a douche. He does. But maybe that makes him.
He's got that douchey atmosphere about
him.
He does,
So
people aren't
dude.
gonna
He's just like that cocky guy. He's not going to quarterback slide. He's going to go in there with his he's going to be physical. Dude, screw off, man. But that being said, I think he has the tools. There's growth to be there. But the thing about Taysom Hill is you got to remember he's 30 years old.
I don't really care about
30.
that though. The thing is that I don't care how old he is. He only needs a little bit to be there. He just needs to work on his mechanics in the offseason. Just a little bit. He doesn't have to change anything crazy. Just a little bit. So that he's better at that one throw that we saw where he sidesteps in the pocket and throws over a guy.
Carson
That's
Wentz
what he
mechanics,
needs. And then he needs to be able to throw in the run a little bit better. And then he just needs to trust his arm. He needs to trust himself, get some more games under his belt. I just think that people up until now have just always thought of Taysom Hill as just kind of just another guy. He's just there. Drew Brees makes him look good. He's, even compare him to Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater is much better. Much better. I'm not saying that Taysom Hill is the guy, but people need to start acting like he can be the guy. And the fact of the matter is that I think that organization has a question to say, do we draft a quarterback or do we rely on Taysom Hill? Right now, with the way he's been playing, He needs to show you a little more, and he needs to keep improving. There's a question, though. You're not just set as an organization saying, oh, we're trading up for a quarterback, or, oh, we're taking a quarterback that falls to us. You have a great opportunity here to have a quarterback on a superb team-friendly deal, build around him, keep the pieces that makes your offense turn, the offensive line, the running backs, the receivers, that stud physical defense, and great coaching, and you can win games. I think that people just need to start treating them that way, at least begging the question. I think I was definitely someone that doubted Taysom Hill until I did this analysis on him. Now, he's not where he needs to be, but he's improving. And if he keeps this upward trajectory, it's going to be interesting to see what happens next season.
Dude,
But speaking of the Eagles,
oh, hold on. This is just like one more thing, and this has to deal with like Sean Payton. For the last 2 years, when Drew Brees has gone down, they went 5-0 with Teddy Bridgewater, and they're 3-0 right now with Taysom Hill. That and like the offenses like changed with those quarterbacks too. It is crazy how they could change their offensive scheme like that. We're like molded around that QB, and they're undefeated. They're 8-0 with the backup QB the last 2 years. It's wild.
listen, Sean Payton is the king of I don't take players to fit my offense. I fit my offense around talented players. And I think a lot of coaches can take notes from him because the way that he plays to Taysom Hill's strengths on the dude, it's not like they were doing the craziest game plan. And the Falcons were throwing the freaking book at him on third down. I saw man coverage, single high safety, man coverage, two high safeties. I saw him from the same look go cover three. We saw 6 sticks coverage on third and long. I saw Tampa 2 from a one high safety look they would go into. Cover 4, blitzing on third down. They tried everything and they couldn't stop it. Granted, it's the Falcons and
Especially
they
on
just
man
screw up a
coverage.
lot, but
Yeah, especially on man coverage because you got to trust Isaiah Oliver out there, and that's pretty much just having a ghost. That dude's
But
wide
they
open every
tried
time.
everything and they couldn't stop. And Taysom Hill, he said after the game that it was goofy, the looks that the Falcons were giving him on third down. I completely agree. It was just goofy. They
He liked
weren't.
it
I thought
apparently.
they put way too much of an emphasis on stopping Alvin Kamara, which stretched a lot of zones. I really wanted to go in more in depth on a lot of these plays, but that's it for the Taysom Hill. All right, but enough with Taysom Hill. Let's go from a good offense like the Saints, talking about again a bad offense. I know we talked about him a couple weeks ago, but we're bringing back on the Eagles because the Eagles have officially benched Carson Wentz for Jalen Hurts. Steed, what is your initial reaction to this whole scenario, real quick, before we get into like a little mini analysis?
The benching, I totally agree with it. I think it's the right call. Clearly, Carson Wentz is not going to be able to fix his problems at all this season. You see two teams in front of you now just exceeding, and they're ahead of you now, and there's still time for you to make ground. You're not going to get there with Carson Wentz. Jalen Hurts in his little time he played last week, he gives you the best chance to win this season. Now, is he the answer moving forward? I don't know. Like, there's always off seasons long where they can work with Carson Wentz, but I think it's the right call. You got to do it, and it probably helps his his head too, because like he's got to feel like crap. Every week Al, he just looks terrible, and the offense plays poorly, and everything's just not going the way it should be.
Yeah, I actually, a couple weeks ago, I would have disagreed with you on it, but now I think I would. I went back, I watched some more Eagles tape just to get a clearer picture on the whole scenario when I heard that Carson Wentz was getting benched. And I have a few new thoughts that I didn't have from the last analysis. The first is that the Eagles' offense in 2017 was just different from the offense this year. It was much more of a power running scheme back in 2017. It was then the offensive line was just making a whole lot more space. They had LeGarrette Blount and Jay Ajayi as the running backs. Now the running backs are Miles Sanders and Boston Scott, much smaller running backs. They did add Jordan Howard recently, but he hasn't really played. And it's just much more spread out now, the offense. It's a lot more shotgun. It's a lot more multiple receiver sets. And At the end of the day, I think that style of offense just fits Jalen Hurts better. You think about what made Jalen Hurts really good at Oklahoma. I mean, he was running that spread offense. He was clearly better in that spread out offense than he was at Alabama, where they were a little more condensed, just more often. And, the Oklahoma offense was just more passing oriented. The passing game is the extension of the run game a little bit. They're both vertical offenses, but Alabama has much more of a run centered attack, at least at the time they did, especially with Jalen Hurts and what they would do with his legs running the football. At Oklahoma, they didn't really, they did ask him to run the football, but it wasn't, I think they treated him more as a quarterback than Alabama did. And I think that this style of offense, this spread out, it's the NFL, they're treating him like a quarterback. I just think that this fits Jalen Hurts a little bit. And the other thing to say about Carson Wentz that you brought up on the last analysis, I didn't really go as much into. There was just a whole lot to unpack, but after this Packers game, it's just firmly in my head. His mechanics are terrible. Really, really, really bad, and they have deteriorated from 2017. And it's obvious that they're not working on this in practice. They're not addressing it at all, or maybe Carson Wentz's head has gotten too big and he doesn't care. But I just want you to take a look at Carson Wentz's footwork on the start. He's going to roll out to the right and try to make a throw to this out route over here. And just look at how bad his feet are here. Just look at this. Twinkle toey kind of throw. This, I can guarantee you, this is not how you are taught to throw the football. And this is open. There's a little bit of space here. Yeah, it's not much. But if you could just sit here and actually use your feet to make a throw, there's not a ton of pressure on you, Carson Wentz. Just step up, make the throw. Don't do this. This twinkle toey just
throwing off his back foot.
It's just terrible. But just look at the difference from 2017 with him as a quarterback. Look at his feet. Yeah, they're wide. It's not perfect. Look how comfortable he looks. This is an incompletion here to Jeffrey, but look at this. That is a dime. What happened to this? Just bouncing around. He's not afraid to take the hit.
Maybe that's what it is.
And what happened to some of this, too? Just step up, shoulder dip, bang. Perfect. That is perfect quarterback play right here. This is exactly how you're taught to do it. Drop back. There's a free rusher. Plant your feet, dip your right shoulder, step up, make a throw. Is that not just awesome? Where is that? Where does that man go? Who is this Carson Wentz that is on the Eagles right now?
And here's the last thing. This has to be a fake Carson Wentz.
Here's the last thing. This is another incompletion, but I really like what the design of this, that the Eagles, I feel like, have just lost. Carson Wentz is going to see its man coverage, and he's going to have this little check. Kind of missed it there. You see this little check to Ertz? Okay, check the route. They got a safety on him one-on-one. We know we're going to him in the matchup we like. Yeah, it's an incompletion. But it's just, he's so much more confident in the system, in the offense. Carson Wentz now, he's twinkle-toeing. He's like looking left, looking right, hitching here. Like, dude, what happened to this? Just a little check. Okay, I got a matchup I like. No hitch. No, not a single little hitch from the ball there. It's just really a shame. And I want to pose the question to you and myself. Who do you blame more for the Eagles' situation right now with Carson Wentz? Carson Wentz or Doug Peterson?
I can't blame both. I got to pick one.
Got to pick one. I mean, I guess realistically it is on both, but pick one. Who's more to blame? How about that? Who's more to blame?
I'm putting it on the coaching staff. I'm putting it on Peterson, man. I like like you said, the offense has dramatically changed. I think they're doing something more to where Wentz is not yet comfortable with. And in a COVID year, like we've been saying, like how much time in the offseason did he really get to have more of this like spread out look and they get away from the power run? And on top of the coaching, like you really haven't done anything for Carson Wentz on the front line. You don't run the ball at all. You're not balanced at all. You spent a second round pick on Miles Sanders, but yet Doug Peterson only runs them 5 times a game. Like, what are you doing here? Receivers are always garbage. So I'm going to put it more on the coaching staff and Peterson there. Even though, like, especially in those videos right there, you see Wentz is having mechanical problems, but are those mechanical problems because of Doug Peterson? Now it's just a muscle memory now, wherever he's under duration or he's been hurt too much, he doesn't want to be hit again, where he's trying to like make these throws to protect himself, or he just doesn't feel comfortable. And it's truly hard for me to believe that like Carson Wentz has been in the league the last 3 years. He's been great in the league, great quarterback. But then all of a sudden he just goes to dog crap once the offense changes. You're not running the ball as much. I don't know what's the outlier there. I'm going to blame Peterson. I think he's at fault.
I'm actually going to disagree with that. I'm going to blame Carson Wentz. I do think that the Eagles coaching staff has done a terrible job, first and foremost. I think that you're right. I wish I could blame both because it really feels like we should blame both. And Doug Peterson not having an offensive coordinator is killing this football team because obviously the system that they're running is not fitting the players. But at the end of the day, Carson Wentz just isn't confident. He's got the yips. His feet are not under him on his throws. He's getting twinkle toes. All the progress that he made from college coming out from North Dakota State has been gone. Now, at the same time, the system I don't think fits him, and I think it does fit Jalen Hurts more. And right now, Jalen Hurts gives him a better chance to win the football game.
Yeah.
But am I
agree with
giving
the
up on
call.
Carson Wentz? Not at all. Carson Wentz is still a phenomenal quarterback, in my opinion. I think that you just need to get him a staff that works with him. It's clear that Carson Wentz is not a flawless quarterback. He has a ton of flaws, especially mechanically. And right now, he has a lot of flaws mentally. He is a broken quarterback. But that doesn't mean that you cannot fix his issues and cannot fix his mental state. And that does also not mean that you can't put him in a better position to win. But right now, I think at the end of the day, the blame has to be on Carson Wentz. Doug Peterson's not going out there and making bad throws and bad decisions. I think at first Carson Wentz, he tried to put it on himself too much and tried to do too much with the offense. Then the coaching staff started asking him to become and be a player that he isn't. So I truly do believe that it is almost 50-50 the blame. But at the end of the day, if Doug Peterson, the Eagles, had a better quarterback, they would be winning football games and moving the ball more. So I think that you have to blame Carson Wentz, but it is tough.
Do you want me to give you a little Colin Cowherd analogy on Peterson and Carson Wentz on who to blame?
Yeah, go ahead. Give me one. Give me an analogy.
All right,
Hit me.
I came up with this at the top of my head. Let's see if it makes any sense. Okay, so Doug Peterson is like the parent. Okay, and this parent, he like it's not a great parent. He hasn't done much for his kid, and the kid's always getting in trouble, but everybody blames the kid for getting in trouble. But if you look at the parent, it's really the parent's fault for not guiding the kid into a proper aspect in life. So, are we truly going to blame Carson Wentz for being bad when we can look at Doug Peterson and say, well, you really haven't done anything for your quarterback?
I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah, dude.
I do like that a lot. I thought that was a pretty good one.
I'm Coward.
Nice, dude. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I think in that situation that both the parent and the kid have some of the blame. I do agree with that. I think you may have swayed me. I think I'm back on the Peterson's at fault
Go,
train,
dude.
but
Colin Coward.
I don't know. I think that Carson. I don't think I can just sit here and defend Carson Wentz all day when he is not playing well. And it's not that, a lot of these issues he can fix, and he's not fixed. So there's only so much I can put on a coach. Let's get into Jalen Hurts a little bit real quick, though, instead of Carson Wentz. Jalen Hurts, obviously, he's much more confident throwing the football. We saw in that like one quarter of gameplay that he played, he was getting rid of the ball without hesitation. Going back to almost that Taysom, he looked like a quarterback that really trusted his arm. I also think that right now his internal clock isn't messed up, so he knows when and when he shouldn't break the pocket and try to look to gain yards with his legs or extend plays. Um, but at the end of the day, do you think that the Eagles have a shot to beat the Saints with Jalen Hurts at quarterback? Or do you even think they have a shot to win a game? Not even beat the Saints, win a
Oh,
game.
I definitely think they have a shot to win the game. They got the Cowboys left on their schedule, so Jalen Hurts can beat the Cowboys.
I think anyone could beat the Cowboys right
Yeah,
now.
so he can win a game. Now, the Saints, that's a tough task, okay? Because, like, they're going to shut down that non existent run game already. One of the best rush defenses in the league. And Cam Jordan and Hendrickson and all of them are going to be all over Jalen Hurts. But the one thing about Jalen Hurts is the one thing about the Eagles that will keep them in this ball game is their defense. We've seen Taysom Hill, even though he's progressing well, he still only put up 21 points last week against the Falcons defense. This Eagles defense, I still think is a Super Bowl caliber defense. And Taysom Hill's got his money made for him. And Jalen Hurts can move the ball and keep the time of possession in their favor, which I think he'll be able to do much better than Carson Wentz will be able. This is a closer game than a lot of people would really think it'd be. And like you said, I think Jalen Hurts is very confident right now. I think he's confident. He's coming off of his college football campaign where he finished second in the Heisman, came up to be a second round pick where like at Bama, no shot he's a second round pick. I think Lincoln Riley does a really good job with his quarterbacks. You see Baker and Kyler having some success this year. And Jalen Hurts, he's had nothing but like time on the bench to really look in and get the game plan going. So I think he's confident going into the Saints game. It's no easy task, but I wouldn't be surprised with an upset.
Yeah, before we move on, the one thing I do want to say about Jalen Hurts is that, yeah, he may not have the best arm talent, and while he has good legs and can run, he's definitely not the most mobile quarterback. But the one thing that Jalen Hurts is just really great with is that he has that professional mentality about him. And I truly believe that that's why the Eagles picked him up in the second round, is that they knew that they were getting a model professional from day one. And they knew that they were getting a guy that worked his tail off in that room, in that quarterback room, and for this football team. And I think you
Yeah.
can see that the Eagles team around him, I think that he really has the locker room on his side much more than Carson Wentz does. So while he may not be the most talented quarterback, and he obviously doesn't have the talent that Carson Wentz does, this is a guy that, you know, I just think has the right mentality. And dude, I think that he can really make something happen for the Eagles. I think that he fits the system right now better than Carson Wentz does. I'm not saying that necessarily Carson Wentz's time in Philly is over. It's just he needs a coach that can fix him. Jalen Hurts is one of those guys that I don't think he's ever going to need a coach to fix him. I think that he's the kind of guy that, yeah, he may not have the talent necessarily, but he will always have that professional attitude and atmosphere really helping him out. And I'm excited to see him play. But with that being said, let's get on into the next segment. The next one we are going to talk about is our boy, Anthony Lynn. A couple episodes ago, we kind of crapped on Anthony Lynn, saying that we probably would can him at the end of the year. Um, Now you get a 45-0 loss against the Patriots. On top of the fact that supposedly, while they still were mathematically in the playoffs, he told the team that they weren't making the playoffs. So it's
Before the
like,
game?
yeah. He was. The
Oh,
other thing that I also heard is that I don't think he talks to the players before the game.
what does he do? Just sit on his couch and eat chips, and then they're like, "Hey, Anthony, we play in 10 minutes. All right, hold on, let me grab my headset."
No, I just don't think he. I don't think he does like a pregame speech or anything. Like not even like, all right, boys, let's go get him out here. Like,
That's
no, I don't think he does any of that.
oh, well,
Supposedly, that's what word on the street is, at least.
I don't like that too much. No, I like having a guy in the locker room that gets pumped up.
I mean, listen, I completely agree with you, and I want to show a clip real quick, just kind of showing that this Patriots team came to play, and not only did they come to play, they ate the Chargers' lunch. Let me see if I can get this on here. Bang time. Look at this. Just look at Stephon Gilmore in the slot against Keenan Allen.
Oh man,
Look at this coverage. Look at this. Look how physical this team is playing. Look how fast the Patriots are playing. You're telling me this team didn't come to play? Look at Stephon Gilmore.
they want it,
Look
man.
at this coverage. I don't care what schemes you ran. I don't think the Chargers wanted to play this game. I really don't.
Well,
I
I
really
if
think they
your
didn't give a shit.
if your coach tells you that you're out of the playoffs, but mathematically speaking, you're still in the hunt. Like I'm not playing. I'm be like, screw this, man.
Well, how about this? How about this? They gave a shit. But it just looked like a football game where everyone was playing for themselves, not for the team. Whereas
Mhm.
the other side, the Patriots, everyone was playing for the team, not for themselves. And that's how you end up with a 45-0 game when you can make a clear argument the Chargers have the better roster. That is
Yeah,
inexcusable. And at the end of the day, that's not the straw that broke the camel's back. That is like the second camel's back that's been broken. Anthony Lynn has to be gone now. I'm sorry. It's just I didn't I like Anthony Lynn as a person. I think he's a good guy. Um at least I thought before he would get a team to play for him. He's a locker room atmosphere. I think he cares about the players. But at the
what
end of the
like in Hard
day, man,
Knocks?
it's just what have you done for me lately?
He hasn't done anything. That's the thing.
What are you gonna not even
He
that, what are
blows
you
me.
gonna do for the future? Can this team win another playoff game under Anthony Lynn at this rate? Like,
Now, and it's just like I think it's to a trend now. Like you got a good young quarterback, you got some decent pieces around him. Just go out there and find a different guy. Anthony Lynn, it just seems, especially after this defeat and the close losses they have had in the past 2 years, it just feels like it's more depleted this moment. It feels like if you brought him back for another year, it just kind of felt like a Hugh Jackson thing again. Even though he's not as bad as Hugh Jackson, it's just, you're not changing anything of the culture there, you know? And I, I, in no world do I see the Chargers coming back and winning a playoff game with Anthony Lynn next season. I mean, you got to think the Raiders are going to be better, and the Chiefs are going to be the Chiefs.
mhm.
And there's no and
And the
you look
Broncos
at
might have a quarterback at some
and the
point.
Broncos might have a quarterback. You look at your division. Like if you want to rank your coaches, Anthony Lynn is definitely last place in that division ranking of coaches. And your goal is to have the
Which
number
is
one ranked coach.
crazy, dude. I'm pretty sure he was either coach of the year or runner-up coach of the year in 2017 or 2018, one of the two. The year that
Oh,
they went
really?
12-4, I believe it was 2018. Um,
But then
but
again,
I
they
think
didn't
you're right.
get blown out against the Patriots. I mean, they got blown out in the playoff game that same year he won Coach of the Year, right?
Well, here, let me get into this real quick. So at the end of the day, Anthony Lynn's record as the head coach of the Chargers is 29-31. This season, they are bottom 10 against the run after drafting a linebacker, They drafted a defensive tackle 2 years ago in the first round. They bring in Lynn Joseph from Minnesota. You paid 2 stud defensive ends in Ingram and Bosa. I know Ingram did not play. Bosa's still sick, still really good.
He's a
They
pretty
just
good
got
player.
schemed. They just bullied them up front. They're bottom 10 in points allowed. That defense. They allow the second most points in the third quarter to the Vikings, who got most of that is from the beginning of the season when they were getting blown out, which just honestly tells me that they just don't adjust. Teams come out in the third quarter, they adjust to what the Chargers are doing. The Chargers don't adjust. It takes them too long. And it's a big reason why I honestly believe that they allow teams to come back in games. They'll be doing really good at halftime, but then a team will have a great third quarter against them, and then all of a sudden, the fourth quarter, it's a football game again. They're 8-20 against teams with winning records, including the playoffs. Without the playoffs, they're 7-19 against teams with winning records. They beat the Chiefs once under Anthony Lynn's tenure.
I remember that game.
In
Thursday
2018,
night.
when they went 12-4, they had the third easiest schedule, according to sportsbettingdime.com, in their analysis looking back at the 2018 season. And it's just, you have a former running back and former running backs coach as your head coach. You're averaging 4.7 yards a carry against the Patriots' stud secondary with guys like Stephon Gilmore, the McCourties, J.C. Jackson. And you run the ball a total of 15 times. You threw it 53 times for 188 net yards.
Yeah, that's questionable right there.
You
But
have the easy rookie of the year, and guess who they beat? You beat Jacksonville, Cincinnati, and the New York Jets. All of those, except for Jacksonville, by 1 score. Less than 7 points.
see, that resume just screams firing to me. You know, like how do you trust in one guy? Yeah, how do you trust in that guy to come
I
back
just
next
don't
year and something
understand.
change?
And it's just ridiculous, man. The Chiefs game, that was a close football game. Justin Herbert's first game. Great job by the Chargers. He ran the ball 40 times, plus Herbert ran it four times himself.
Yeah.
This game against a passing offense of the Patriots, where Cam Newton threw for like under 70 passing yards. You run it 15 times? As a former running back. I mean, you look at the end of the Buffalo game last week as well. It was just poorly managed at the end. Yeah, they're out of it, but Jesus Christ, it's ugly. They just they were outmatched physically by a better coached Patriots team. There's just no excuse for losing that game 45-0. And there's really no excuse for losing all these other games all the time. It's just, at what point is enough enough? At what point do you just say what you always say? It's just about winning football games. And he's now has a losing record with the Chargers. He now has a losing record with the Chargers. He was 12-4 2 years ago. And you found the quarterback. They've always had a quarterback. The quarterback has never, it's not like you're a team like the Broncos have been, where you don't have the quarterback. Oh, we're just that quarterback away. What don't the Chargers have?
The coach, apparently.
Yeah,
It's the coach.
apparently.
It's the coach, dude. The NFL is simple, and one aspect is that your one goal is to win games. You know, win games. Win games saves your career. And you're right; they've had the quarterback. I kind of relate this to a Falcons thing. Is that yeah, Dan Quinn had success, but you had the quarterback, but you were losing games. Like recipe doesn't add up. So you should be canned, move on, bye bye. Thanks for your try. Knows how to win games consistently on a consistent basis. You know,
Yeah,
I
I
understand there's
completely
only a
agree.
few coaches out there that can consistently win. It's hard to do, but you're not going to. You can't wait around for a guy that had success 1 year and then have 3 bad years and then just go off that 1 year he was good and be like, well, he was good this year, but like, listen, Rams didn't make the playoffs last year, still went over 500, and look at them now. I mean, good shot at winning the division again. Sean McVay can consistently win the game. If your one thing on your resume is just a one good year where you went 12-4, yeah, dude, get out of here. You know, like it shouldn't be that 1 year shouldn't save you like 4 more years. I just cut him, can him, boom, get out of here. Nice guy, but get out.
Yeah, that's what stinks is that, Anthony Lynn, um, you can't say that he's had an unfair shot. He's had a more than fair shot. I don't think he's the worst coach in the NFL, if that is any consolation prize.
Adam
I
Gase
think
would
that there
like
are
a few
plenty of
words
worse
for that.
coaches.
Yeah, Adam Gase probably got him on that.
Yeah. But you're right. I mean, this team should not be in the spot that they're in. You look at just I was thinking about it last night. The Steelers went 8-8 last season with an offense that would hinder the team some games. Not even that they wouldn't move the football. That offense lost them football games because the defense would set them up in a position to score and they would just turn the football back over. You have a Chargers
Dude,
team that on paper is incredible. You have every position you have a good player in. Every single position you have a good player in. Yeah, your offensive line might not be the best in the league. Was Pittsburgh's offensive line the best in the league last year? Did they have Justin Herbert as court? There's no excuse. A lot of these games, it's not about the talent of the players in the field. It's about the scheme. It's about the coaching. And it's just that's been the difference in a lot of these football games. They're just getting out coached. They're getting out schemed. They can't create momentum at the end of football games. And it's always they are finding a new way to lose. You can't have that. You need to build a winning team. And the players are baffled by it as well. The players are like, listen, we're executing the game plan. We're just losing games. Like, I think you're right. Enough is enough. And I think that after a 45-0 loss, yeah, you can ride him out to the end of the year, but he's got to be
might as
gone.
well now. Yeah, he's gone. Might as well now.
Yeah, I mean, only a matter of time before Nagy's next, and we pretty much nailed all the head coaches. Nagy and Marone. I think I was a little bit unfair to Dougie Marone, though. I do kind of like Dougie Marone.
Did they keep him?
The thing that's tough about Dougie Marone is that I think that he is a good coach in terms of developing players. I don't think he's necessarily the best coach in terms of schemes and all that jazz. He's done a decent job. But in terms of a guy that can develop a football team and build a good football team, I think he can do it. The problem is I'm not sure the Jaguars organization has the pieces and tools enough to help him out.
Probably not.
And I think at the end of the day, it's just going to be a matter of time before they have enough losing seasons before they're like, listen, Dougie, you're gone. I think I was a little bit harsh on him early in the season. I just watched a couple of games from the Jaguars, and I just wanted to punch my screen with some of the schemes that they had because it was just so boring. But at the same time, what do they have on offense to do with? Like, they don't really have much to work with on that side of the football these days. You
Yeah.
got Mike Glenn on starting for you.
I when I watched the Jags game the other day, I was like, Mike Glennon's starting? I was like, that dude's still in the league? Because I remember the Bears like paid him like a decent amount of money in free agency before they drafted Trubisky.
He was
And
on
then,
Hard Knocks with Gruden, too.
yeah. Oh, Mike Glennon, dude. He's still out there tossing the seed around.
He's been playing all right. I'll give him credit. He's been playing all right.
I saw that touchdown he threw to Chenault that like bounced off
Oh,
the
yeah.
or
Perfect.
something. Yeah.
That's how you draw it up.
Yep, that's how you do it. That's Mike Glennon's way.
speaking of Mike Glennon, a team that just lost in overtime to the Vikings. The Vikings, who I may or may not have picked to be in the Super Bowl this year. We don't know that for sure. You can find out if you go to thirdand20.com/historical dash performance and look under the Third and 20 podcast tab. You can figure out if I did have that take or not. But the Vikings, my boys, they are in the 6th seed or the 7th seed, excuse me, of the playoffs. They got a big game against the Buccaneers this week. Steed, how are we thinking? Yes or no, Vikings in the playoffs?
I mean, out of the teams that are contending that spot, let's just look at it since the Cardinals are 6-6 too. I mean, you got to give the Vikings the favorite. They're the hotter team. Whenever you start 1-5 and then you flip that to 6-6, they're playing good ball right now. Justin Jefferson, like you were saying, Herbert, offensive rookie of the year, no question. I think you got to put Justin Jefferson in the conversation now. The dude's having a ridiculous rookie campaign.
Yeah, but I just feel like they're going to give it to the
But they're
quarterback.
going to give the quarterback because the NFL loves the quarterback. Everybody loves the quarterback, but forget about us receivers. I played a little receiver back in backyard football. But yeah, so I do like if they beat the Bucks, they'll jump the Bucks in they'll have the 6th seed, I'm pretty sure. And then it comes a question, do the Bucks even make the playoffs? You know?
This is a massive game this week, but the thing is that I do think that the Bucks have a much better matchup
I do like the
for
Bucks
the
matchup.
Vikings than the Vikings do for the Bucks. I think
Coming
that
off
that defense is going to give. What's up?
They're coming off a bye too, and like we said, that front seven for the Bucks is legit. Now the Vikings do have a guy named Dalvin Cook. He's pretty good, but
He's
it's
all
like
right.
mono a mono going at each other. I don't know. You're gonna need
Yeah, but
Kirk Cousins to step
also,
up.
yeah, you're going to need a really big game out of Kirk Cousins, and that Vikings secondary is going to have to make some plays against the GOAT. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. They got a young secondary, and I'm just kind of scared because I do want the Vikings to win this game, but just looking at the matchups, I haven't watched film on the teams coming into this game. I mean, I guess I did do an analysis on the Bucks offense, but from that, like the Bucks are a team. They just try to line up and win. They have, and this is a matchup where I think they can line up and win. It's just the Vikings are going to need to find a way to create some turnovers and make some plays. I think that's the only way they win this game. Other than that, Kirk Cousins or Dalvin Cook, one of those guys is going to have a monster day.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like a game that the Vikings are gonna win, just based on the matchup and like you were talking about. I want to see the Vikings win. I don't like the Bucks. I love Tom Brady, but don't like the Bucks. But
I wonder why that is.
huh?
I wonder why you don't like the Bucks.
I don't know. They're frauds. They're frauds. They buy all these players for free agency, get the GOAT, come into our division, and think now that they just reign supreme. Like some of us stick with our guys. We have trust. That's why we're going to beat them.
Yeah, I think the Cardinals are really an interesting team right now because they're a team that has the talent. They don't have an excuse like the 49ers for not making the playoffs. The thing that I said this early in the season on the podcast is that I just don't like their upper management. I have nothing against Cliff Kingsbury, but their general manager, I believe his name is like Steve Keim or Steve Keim. I mean, I don't really think he's all that good, to be completely honest. I think their owners kind of blow. They just don't. For some reason, the Cardinals are just never that team that can really like put it all together for me. I think that stems from the top because right now there's really no excuse for that football team losing as many games as they have. Yeah, you can blame it on Kyler was hurt or this, that, and the other. They play in a tough division. But Jesus, man, you have more than enough talent to be a winning football team. What if you gave Sean McVay that roster? I think they're in the playoffs right now. Same thing. What if you
Yeah,
gave Mike Tomlin that roster? What if you gave Doug Peterson that roster?
I don't know. I would hope it'd be good. But yeah, this is a team that has truly fizzled out. I mean, dude, like 3 weeks ago they were 6-3. You know, after the Hail Mary play with or 4 weeks ago, like the Hail Mary play with against the Bills, they won. They finished that 6-3. They control their own destiny. They could even win the division. I mean, they dropped to the Seahawks, lose a tough one against the Patriots, and then get really just whacked around by the Rams last week. So I'm looking
I'm
at the
telling you, Sean McVay has the Cardinals figured out.
yeah. I mean, they got to finish them at the end of the year too. They played the G-Man, Jalen Hurts, Eagles, and the Niners, and then the Rams.
None of those are easy
Oh no,
games right now. You're playing the NFC East at the worst possible time.
yeah, this is not the time, especially the G-Man. I mean, like, I guess they're a little safe with Colt McCoy. Like, granted, Colt McCoy beat Russell Wilson, but if Kyler is able to not turn over the ball and make a couple plays to get to like 20 points against the Giants, I think that gives them a like an 80%, like pretty much going to win that game unless Colt McCoy
Don't
went
doubt my
crazy.
boy Colt McCoy, man.
I'm
Colt
not
McCoy,
doubting your boy Colt McCoy. I had him on my college fantasy team back in 2009, dude. Like, I'm not doubting your boy. I'm
dude,
just
Colt
saying.
McCoy had a great game for the Giants. Yeah, he had that pick, but that was not his fault.
Yeah, it wasn't
It
really. It
should have
wasn't
been
at all.
caught. He had and the Giants' running attack has really become something
And
nice.
Dalton.
They're able to consistently move the football now. Dude, Jason Garrett's got it going on there. Um, okay, with that being said, let's get into some picks. Now that we're practically taking picks as it is, let's get into the picks.
Oh, picks.
Dog of the week. We're starting off with dog of the week. Who do you got for your dog of the week, Mr. Steed?
I think I'm going to take a cop out, and I haven't really been betting on the Steelers in the past couple weeks, so I think I'm going to go back into that trend. I'm taking Steelers spread and money line. I know like the Bills just had a huge win against the 49ers. I can say they were underdogs in that game too. But I like the Steelers this week. Bounce back. Like you don't have the pressure of being that undefeated team where everybody's talking to you. Now everybody's kind of trashing you. So you have something to prove again. Be a little bit of an underdog and have that chip on your shoulder mentality. So I think the Steelers come into Buffalo, a little bad blood in from last year. We remember this was a Sunday night game from last year where it kind of decided who was going to be that 6 seed. So I think they want some revenge there. But yeah, just give me the Steelers because at the end of the day, I still think the Steelers are a bad team. Like the Bills, I think the Steelers defense can shut down the Bills, give Josh Allen a really rough time, even though Josh Allen has been playing pretty consistently well this season. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Josh Allen go into like his old habits here in this game, where he has like a funky little stat line, turn over the ball a couple times, and maybe the offense gets going. Like the Bills' defense isn't the Bills' defense from years past, and I think the Washington football team defense is better than the Bills' defense, honestly, at least this year. So I like the Steelers.
All right, well, with my dog of the week, I am taking them for the second time. I'm going to be taking the New England Patriots as my dog of the week against the Rams. I took the Rams last week. I really like the matchup. Kind of for a similar reason, I'm taking the Patriots. Um, I just think that Belichick is hot. He's figured out how he wants to run this team. He's, just running the football, run, just physically beat down the other team. And even though the Rams got a guy named Aaron Donald, I think that similar to that 49ers game a couple of weeks ago, I think that the Rams are going to struggle to move the ball on offense with the physicality and the speed of that Patriots secondary, especially with Jared Goff as your quarterback. He's not someone that's going to be able to extend plays and create offense by himself. And I just think that the Patriots are going to be able to hang around in that football game. So I'm going to hope that they can come out on top. I do like the Patriots spread, but dude, this is dog of the week. We're going hard or going home. Patriots money line, baby.
You take for your dog of the week last week.
I got it right here. Hold on. What did I take for my dog of the week? No, I took the Falcons.
Oh, that's right. You took us. Oh, shit. We're close. Speaking of the
They
Falcons.
hung around.
Yeah. Speaking of the Falcons, I'm going to take Falcons minus 2.5 against the Chargers. I think this Chargers team, based on last week. What?
Taking the Falcons. Bold move.
I'm doing it, dude. Rise up. Let's go. Like, I tried to do a little thing. I took the Saints last week and hoping that the Falcons would win, but ended up with the Saints cover. So I guess that's good for my record. Better record than the Falcons.
Yeah, win-win.
So, yeah, I'm just going to take the Falcons minus 2.5 here. I think the Chargers are kind of done, especially after last week and after what you told me with Anthony and Lynn and everything. I'm just going to take my boys, I think the offense is going to have a game where it erupts like it did against Raiders, or not really against Raiders, but the offense has been very lackluster for the past couple of weeks, it seems like. So I think they're due for a big game, and I think it's going to happen in LA.
Well, I'm going to be taking the Ravens minus 1.5 against the Browns. I did like what I saw out of the Ravens. Granted, it's against the Cowboys, so it's like, what are you really seeing here? But I think that the Ravens, towards the end of the season, they're going to get on a roll. They always play well against this Cleveland team, similar to the Steelers. Now that they're going to get a little more healthy off of their whole COVID situation, I do think that the Ravens are going to, get hot now, find a way into the playoffs like they usually do, and that starts with covering the spread of 1.5 against this Browns team on the road.
I'm going to take the Colts minus 2.5. I like the Raiders. I don't know if I really trust them or not. And I think this Colts team is really about to get going again, like we saw coming off the win last week. I think I took them last week too. Yeah, I did. This small line is just where I truly don't believe in that Raiders defense. Really, like I know I'm picking against our team, but it's coming late here where I need to win some picks to help my record. So I'm gonna take the Colts minus 2.5.
All right, buddy. Well, I'm taking the Raiders
Oh,
plus 2.5.
okay.
Just because you said that, I'm thinking about going money line, but I'll take that plus 2.5. Raiders are getting their left tackle back, Trent Brown. It's going to be a big addition back for them, beef up that offensive line. Yeah, I know the Raiders just played like crap against the Jets, but I think that's just kind of one of those wins, like that Patriots win against the Jets, that kind of just starts to ignite the Raiders, get them back into playoff form, get the momentum back. As long as Henry Ruggs doesn't just throw football games. I mean, granted, he won the game for them at the end, but the 2 turnovers didn't help out our Raiders' cause. This is a big matchup for the Raiders. This has huge playoff implications. And I think that Derek Carr and John Gruden and those guys are going to come out hot for the first time in the past 3 weeks. And I'm hoping that they can just pull it out against the Colts.
Over under on that game, 51.5.
I was thinking of going under 45.5 in the Rams Patriots game, but I'm not really a huge over under guy.
I'm not either. Just gonna stay away from it. Next pick I'm gonna take. This one's just like pops out to me. Texans -1. The Bears suck. All right. They they lose to a Lions team where like it just like they were up two touchdowns at halftime, and I was like, okay, so like the Bears are gonna be really back in the hunt now. But I mean, I really don't know what happened in that game. I didn't watch too much of it until like I just saw Matthew Staff like pop the score pop up on my phone. So I'm just taking Texas -1. Just give me the better quarterback here. The Texans have been playing better with since they fired old Bob. So, and I just think
Oh,
yeah, old
Bob.
Bob, and I think Nagy's on hot water. He's feeling it, and there's just no way they win this game.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I'm just staying away because it's you really don't know what you're getting out of the Bears, man. You really don't know what
Yeah, you
you
don't.
are getting out of that Bears football team. But my next pick, I'm going to be taking a teaser. Teasers are hot once again. I was 1 for 1 of the teasers last week, but it happens. I'm going to be going with the Packers -1.5 and the Steelers +8.5. 2 team 6-point teaser. Let's just take two good football teams. Teasing the Packers down to 1 score, just 1.5 against the Lions. Like, come on, taking the Packers spread straight up. You better cover 1.5. And the Steelers +8.5, just kind of betting that my Steelers, good football team, don't go out there and get blown out.
Yeah, I like that. My next pick, I'm taking the boys. I'm taking Cowboys -3.5 against Bengals. Um, Dog crap of a game. Nothing everybody wants to see. But I think Andy Dalton gets it done against Cincinnati and, and wins by a touchdown. I really don't have a true reasoning why I like this game. I just like the line, and I think the Cowboys are due for like a win, and I think it comes this week against the Bengals. I think that's the first time I bet on the Cowboys all year.
Well, you'd be good to stay away from them because they've barely covered this season.
Yeah, until this week.
Wait, did they cover this week? I thought they
I mean,
didn't
like this coming.
cover against the Ravens.
Well,
Oh,
this
okay.
week
Yeah, all right.
technically,
Like,
yeah. Like last night's game went in this week, but yeah, they did not cover last night against the Ravens. Got blown out.
man, I want to take another pick. I've been leaning on a few games here and there. Um, Man, I'm actually really thinking about taking the Eagles, but I just don't think I can do it. Like the last time I
Oh,
felt this
the
way, they would
Eagles.
have covered against the Seahawks, that miracle cover. And I'm just getting a
Yeah,
similar feeling about this line. I just feel like this could easily be a 1-score game, mainly because this Eagles pass rush is still legit. And it might give Taysom Hill some issues because this is a defense that's just playing really well. It's going to be interesting to see. I don't think it's a perfect matchup necessarily, and that's why I'm staying away from it. But that's a line I was thinking. Washington +3.5 is interesting. I just think that the 49ers are a little bit too well coached of a football team to really lean on that Washington football team because at the end of the day, if the 49ers can run the football, then I think that they'll easily win that game. So it's just hard to put your trust in the Washington football team, even though what we saw against Pittsburgh last week was really good. 49ers in Pittsburgh couldn't be complete like opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of teams, it feels like, at least on the offensive side of the football.
I'll take the Eagles +7 as my last pick. I'll ride with it. Jalen Hurts era starts now. That defense will give Taysom Hill and show him as a fraud and show why the Saints suck. And Jalen Hurts will throw for 250, couple TDs.
I'm actually going to hammer the Packers. I'm going to take the Packers. I'll buy half a point. I'll take them -7. Um,
Who are they playing?
they're playing the Lions. I just think that's going to be a 2-score game. Actually, no point. I'm not buying half a point. Just give me 7.5. They're gonna win that game. And do I take that under? Man, I wrote down so many like maybes. I wrote down so many maybes looking at the board. I
Yeah,
really don't know what to go. Yeah, I'll take the Patriots Rams under as well. Patriots Rams under 45.5. And that's going to do it for my picks of the week. You done with yours?
I got my picks. I think I like them this week. I like them.
So
I'm
you
taking a lot of
added
favorites.
Eagles plus 7.5.
Yeah.
All right. Well, is that everything then? You got anything else you want to say, Mr. Steed?
No, I mean, one thing is that if you want to win a Super Bowl, just fire your head coach. They're firing teams that fire their head coach is undefeated. Keep the train going. Win a ring.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it.
You know what? I'm taking the Cardinals minus 2.5 as well.
Taking the Falcons?
I don't believe in the G-men.
All right, doesn't believe gassing up Colt McCoy, and now you're saying you don't believe in him. All right. Shame.
It's just, I'll believe in Kyler Murray. I think he's healthy this week, so
It's not a bad
let's
bet.
and you know what? I want to say something before we end the podcast. Dan Arnold is the best football player in the league. If you don't own a Dan Arnold jersey, you should probably get one. I got one myself. This guy, he won me my fantasy football matchup last week, putting up 2 tutties. If you have a fantasy football team, he is the best locker room player you can add. He instantly makes an impact in your team's locker room and in your team's dynamics. He's a natural leader. We love you, Dan Arnold. 3rd and 20. This is not only a Raiders podcast. This is a Dan Arnold podcast. But if you made it this far, thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it. If you're watching on YouTube, if you could hit us with a subscribe, that would be great. A ton of our listens are from people that don't subscribe to the YouTube channel and the podcast. So if you could do that, that'd be really appreciated. Other than that, we have
go ahead and hit subscribe and like.
Yeah, hit the bell, hit the subscribe, like. Also, check out the 3rd and20.com, our website, for some more constant content. We got stuff going on there. And we're going to be coming out with some draft content pretty soon as the season winds down. But thank you so much for listening, and peace out.